Good morning, everyone. Glad you're here joining us this morning. My name is Harish Subramanian. I'm a director at Great Learning. And we're here today to kickstart and launch an exciting new program that we've put together with the leadership of IIT Roorkee and the EICT department at IIT Roorkee. It's the Advanced Certificate Program in Full Stack Software Development. And of course, there are a couple of exciting specializations as well in cloud computing and Python for data science. What we're going to do today is essentially introduce IIT Roorkee, EICT, what we have hoped to achieve through this program. I have with me here some esteemed guests from IIT Roorkee, who I will introduce in a moment. And once we're done with with an introduction to the institution itself, and we'll walk into the rationale for the program design, why it was designed the way it was. It's all been done very thoughtfully. So we'll walk you through a little bit of that process, and also in the process, introduce you to the opportunities that lie in front of you in full stack software development. Right? It's an exciting space. But it's also a broad and often misunderstood space. So we'll demystify it just a little bit. And once we're done with that, I'll walk you through just at a very high level what the program entails. I'll give you a brief program overview and what you have in store for you. And we'll leave plenty of time for questions and answers to get some of your questions answered today. And if we and if you need a moment to digest, and if you need a few days to digest this information and reach out to us, we'll also share our contact information. So you'll have an opportunity to reach out to us at a later point in case you have further questions. Okay, so let's get started. Professor Manas or Professor Partha, can you just confirm that you can see the slide changed? Or is it still in the home slide?
It is still the home slide.
Yeah, it is showing that the first landing slide.
Okay. Excuse me, everyone. There is a resume share that is not working right now. So just give me a second while I debug this. Is it changed now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right. So before we continue, let me introduce myself first. As I said, my name is Harish Subramanian. I'm a director at Great Learning. Just a brief bit about myself. I've been in education now for coming up on a decade. I've worked in multiple areas within education, for everything from professional learning to tertiary education, and I've built educational institutions and learning experiences now in 2 or 3 different continents. I've also been a management consultant myself at the Boston Consulting Group. And before that, I've had a fair bit of technology experience as well, right? And I've seen the evolution of this industry, whether you're talking about software development and product development in the software context, or whether it's AI and data science over the last 2 decades. So I used to build financial algorithms, mostly for hedge funds, asset management firms, and banks. Education-wise, I earned my MBA at the Kellogg School of Management and a master's at the University of Texas at Austin, where I focused on intelligent systems and machine learning and so on. Well, it wasn't called machine learning back then, but now it is, and that's what I formally studied. All right. As I said, this is the agenda. I'm going to introduce our guests today and our speakers today, and we'll walk through a little bit of IIT Roorkee and EICT Academy's vision and mission, why we're launching this program, the general career opportunity within FSD, full stack development, a very, very brief introduction to Great Learning and what role we are playing in this program. And then I'll walk you through the program itself, right? And as I said, I'll leave plenty of time for questions at the end. So first off, let me introduce who I have with us here today. So welcome, Professor Sanjeev Manas. Professor Sanjeev is in the ECE department at IIT Roorkee. He's a principal investigator and researches nanoscale devices and circuits and VLSI technologies more broadly. Professor Manas has been a professor at IIT Roorkee now for, and correct me if I'm wrong, Professor Manas, about 13 years, 14 years. Apart from your professional background as an engineer before that, Professor Manas earned his PhD from De Montfort University at Leicester in the United Kingdom, and earned an MTech from IIT Madras. Welcome, Professor Manas. I also have with us here today Professor Partha. Professor Partha Pratim Roy is the program coordinator for this program. He is a professor in the CSE department at IIT Roorkee and focuses on what, I think if you look at his page on the website, it will say pattern recognition first, and it's interesting because that was the very first thing that that I studied when I was doing my master's as well. Professor Partha works in the pattern recognition area, works in vision and image segmentation and areas like that as well. So very familiar with deep learning and related technologies, but obviously is also very, very familiar with the foundational technologies that build up to getting there. So Professor Partha earned his MS and PhD from the Autonomous University of Barcelona in Spain, and a BTech in computer science and engineering from University of Kalyani as well. Welcome, Professor Partha.
Yes, thank you.
And we were supposed to have Professor Bala, who unfortunately is not keeping well. So he has excused himself, but we wish him a quick recovery. I think the one thing I do want to thank Professor Manas and Professor Partha for is the fact that this is a testing time for everybody, and not just everybody here who's speaking today, but everybody who's listening to us. We're as a country and as a world going through a very, very testing time. So I want to thank you for taking the time in the middle of all of this, to make sure that the wheels keep turning. Education and learning never stops, as grave as the health situation may be. So thank you, Professor Manas and Professor Partha for agreeing to participate in this and helping us kickstart this. And finally, let me also introduce Anirudh. Anirudh is a general manager at Great Learning and will be your program office lead. Anirudh himself has had an extensive career both at startups and as an engineer himself. And you will hear a lot more from Anirudh, so I'm not going to spend too much time introducing Anirudh at this point. But Anirudh heads the program operationally. So as participants, the moment you sign on to the program, Anirudh and his extensive team, you'll be in their capable hands every step of the learning journey. Fantastic. Okay, so let me dive right in. As I said, the very first thing I want to do, and Professor Manas, I'll leave this to you, is introduce IIT Roorkee, EICT, and the vision and the mission of the institution, and what what role you play in the larger education, especially the continuing education landscape in India. Professor Manas, over to you.
Okay. So, yeah, thank you, Harish, for the introductions and putting in perspective what we plan to do today and also later in the course. Now, let me first of all welcome all the participants or all the people who are attending this webinar on this advanced certificate program on full stack software development with the 2 specializations. Now, I'm heading this center, which we call EICT Academy at IIT Roorkee. In fact, it's actually an initiative which was funded back about 3 to 4 years ago by Ministry of Information and Communication Technologies, where they already saw, let's say 3-4 years ago, that there's going to be a huge demand for programs particularly targeted at either working professionals or even teachers and researchers in various engineering institutes, as well as graduates who are looking for opportunities. So we have been very active through this particular initiative at IIT Roorkee in doing the programs related to, in general, related to electronics and ICT technology. So it includes a whole gambit of different type of uh, technologies and the programs where we basically work with the professors at IIT, professors at other similar tier leading institutes to offer very quality programs. So before I just go to EICT, I would just like you to tell you a little bit about IIT Roorkee. IIT Roorkee is a very well-known and old institute. Some of you might already know that this institute was founded way back in 1847 when Britishers were in India, and it was done with a motivation to kind of set up a sort of a kind of it was basically to devise this Ganga canals network in Western UP and Northern India. So all of this very nice sort of canal that flows along with the management of waterworks of Gangas and its tributaries are basically were conceived and all designed, planned, executed from here. So after that, after the independence, this institute basically became a university, and it has played a very vital role in the development of nation because right after independence there were many big projects including Baka Dam and many other projects were conceived and designed and executed by engineers from IIT Roorkee, at that time University of Roorkee. And it has been a fountain or at the fountainhead of training, education, and application this into all is in the latest areas of technology. And we have continuously evolved with the demand and need of the time. Earlier days it was all the civil engineering. Today it is of course civil engineering stays an important part, but there's a lot of focus on various other technologies and innovations which actually demand very strong foundation in IT and allied computer related domains. So we have programs in a lot of different disciplines. We have something like 20 plus departments, and they are doing cutting edge research in all areas. And it will take for me to maybe explain, if you have to tell about this about more than 1 hour. But I'll try to say is that we as an institute have impacted, contributed and impacted the type of technologies which have been adopted in India, as well as through the startups are being adopted worldwide. We are ranked 6th nationally in ranking of NIRF, which is basically a ranking platform or ranking system by our Ministry of Human Resource Development. And we are latest survey, we were number 1 in citation per faculty in among IITs, and we also ranked number 3 as the best university in India. I mean, this tells you something about the strength of the faculty, the quality of research that we are doing, and the type of teaching and the what you going to call is achievements of both our professors or our faculty, and as well as our students. Now, you might be continuously hearing about IIT Roorkee. For example, recently last year when there was a lot of COVID issues, and need were felt for coming up with innovative solutions in various healthcare related demands for addressing COVID problem. So within about 3 months, IIT Roorkee actually came up with a very low cost ventilator, and it was called Pranvayu. You might have heard about this, and it was a very big success in terms of its ability to be a low cost platform to serve the needs of the patients in hospitals. And we have signed MOU with 2 or 3 different vendors to commercialize it, and it was also appreciated recently also in our government departments, particularly MHRD and AIMS. Okay, and other than that, we are doing research in latest areas, including things like a drone center, where we are basically doing cutting edge research in innovation, trying to drive mapping and geoinformation system based technologies in application on large scale development for various application in both civil planning as well as agriculture. There we are doing research in biosciences, where a lot of our faculties have patented various technologies in areas like drug discovery or 3D tissue engineering. Likewise, we also have a lot of startups which are active in this ICT domain. For example, you might have heard about a company which is called InMobi, and this is a company which has a unique technology to basically do in-map marketing. So and that's being used by various vendors, including Google's and other players. And if you do a online payment, you might have seen this logo of something called Razor Pay coming up. Now, this is another innovation from alumni at IIT Roorkee, and this is the payment gateway, and it is being heavily used, and it is very effective and quite fast. So, likewise, there are various technologies that have been conceived or either at IIT Roorkee or elsewhere, and we are always struggling to become sort of fountainhead of latest cutting edge technologies getting implemented through various initiatives, including research at IIT Roorkee as well as our alumni. Okay, and we have a very active R&D what you call base, and annually we have a sort of in excess of 100 crores of total what you can call is the sponsored projects in various areas of research and development. Okay, and so point is that when we have this sort of broad, very high quality both research and teaching resources, we always, and in fact it is also what I can say is it's also expectation of government as well as other funding agencies, that we also not only are benefiting or training the people who are admitted at IIT Roorkee, but whatever we do here is also has been felt that it should be translated, or it should be also some mechanism should be there to interact with people who are not part of IIT Roorkee as students or alumni. We want to also kind of deliver whatever we are doing in the form of cutting edge research to these people. So this is one of this sort of initiative or the motivation that we have, that we want to make sure that we also outreach those people who are looking at whatever expertise in the cutting edge areas of ICT and computer science related areas we have, are also sort of able to interact, benefit with by doing programs with professors from IIT Roorkee. So this particular program is one of that program where we want to outreach to people in the wider outer world, nationally and internationally, in helping them to achieve their goals and in helping them to find a better career perspective. So you can look at EICT Academy in general. You can visit our website and you'll see what are the things happening. Now, one more thing I just want to add about motivation before I hand it over back to you, Harish, and others, my colleagues. Now you can see that there are actually there's a lot of data published by various government and non-government agencies about job scenarios and where the industry is headed. Of course, now there is we are well set into what is known as Industry 4.0, where everything is about automation. Machines are talking to machines and handling various type of activities, whether it is in industry or whether it is in a larger public domain. And in order to do this, technologies which are at the top of the ladder are basically the technologies like AI, machine learning, data science, and all of that is at the back developed by is driven by software. So there are something like 6 lakh engineering students graduate every year, and 25% of that actually are employable in India. The remaining are not able to fetch or find an opportunity for themselves simply because they do not have the right amount of skill or right kind of training to be absorbed directly into industry. So they have to kind of go through some kind of program in terms of skill enhancement or upgradation. And this is where the opportunity lies for you to kind of look at the programs like what we are offering here to upskill yourself so that you are directly hireable or you're directly absorbed in industry. And India is continuously adding job in this area, and it is going to grow. It is not with the advent of AI, there's not going to be dearth of job if you have right sort of skill, and the skill set requires you to upskill in the areas of AI, machine learning, data science, and cloud-related technologies. Sooner we do it, better it is for all of us to grow and contribute to development of the nation. Otherwise, also people who are joining us from abroad, upskilling is must, and it will benefit you sooner or later. Okay. Now, when the world is moving rapidly towards digital economy, the expertise in software development actually will greatly enhance the overall workforce in this area, particularly in India. And it will also help us to strengthen the digital India mission. Okay. And and that is one of the reasons that we have actually kind of come into public domain in the form of this type of various programs with a mission that we want to empower the youth out there. We want to direct them to right sort of in a right sort of path, providing them the teaching and pedagogy strengths that we have here, and making them fulfill their dreams. Okay. And one of our goals at IIT Roorkee and EICT Academy is to then ensure that whatever is the cutting edge research being done here, whatever is the strength in terms of our faculty we have, as well as the knowledge base and methods and methodology and pedagogy, we extend it beyond campus to wider public who are interested, particularly with the hope and with the aspiration that the young students and the professionals are able to develop and create core competencies for them in their professional careers. So through this hope and with this objective, in this particular program, we have collaborated with Great Learning, and we really look forward to expanding our reach and impact in excellence of in machine learning enabling technology or cloud and related software in based techniques and technologies. This particular program, we hope to basically fill a skill gap or satisfy or to fulfill the needs of those participants who are actually looking forward to train themselves in full stack software development, and they are also then at the same time looking at career opportunities and mentorship in terms of careers guidance later towards the end of this program. So we have actually planned this program in such a way that you get best of professors at IIT Roorkee, but at the same time you are also being mentored by experts and professionals who have very good in-depth understanding of what is industry and what demands are and where are the opportunities. And I'm sure that Great Learning will do a great job in helping you to guide through the later on stage of in general career guidance and finding opportunities. So with this, actually, I would like to stop, except that again, I want to wish you all the best. And I want to thank all my colleagues, Professor Partha, Professor Bala, and my team, led by our program manager, Mr. Pratik Sharma, in putting up a very nice program. And it has great depth in its content. It has a great promise for you to orient, to write what I can say is right sort of career in job, or even if you are interested in pursuing higher education, it will definitely build a foundation which will actually help you in actually achieving something better in terms of technical excellence in this area. So with this, I will like to stop, and we can then proceed with the rest of the program as per plan.
Fantastic. Thank you, Professor Manas. That was comprehensive and very, very informative. I think we are delighted that of course, that that you conceived of such a program, and thank you also for calling out Mr. Pratik Sharma, who's the program coordinator for this on the IIT Roorkee side, who's been instrumental in putting, not only coordinating all of the work so far, but will continue to work with us going forward as well. Okay, so let me now move on to, we talked a lot about the idea, that full stack development is an emerging field. It's important. Professor Partha, I would love to engage, with you on just demystifying this a little bit, right? So I know we talked about your own research interests and background in machine learning, in computer vision, in pattern recognition, and so on. But underlying all of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is anecdotally something that I hear all the time from folks in the industry. For every one data scientist, you need an army of 25, 30 people who work on the underlying, building the data pipelines, who are good, solid engineers, who are building the applications. Because once you make a prediction, this then has to become an actual product, and everything surrounding this. Right now, we also know that software development itself has been around for a really long time. So, so what is it that, I guess, motivated us to launch this program in full stack development right now? And actually, even before that, what is full stack development in your mind?
Okay, so thank you, Harish, for this for nice introductions. And I would like to thank Professor Sanjay Manas from EICT Academy IIT Roorkee for me to join in this program. And I would like to also thank this Great Learning for these collaborations with EICT programs. So as you know that I worked in this industry, okay, for more than 5 years. And I have also worked in academia for more than 16 years. So from my industry and academia experience, so what I found that, okay, so there is actually a little gap. Okay, so when we are talking about this product developments or this research or technology, when we talk, so in academia, we are mostly working on this technologies, theories, and we try to develop the prototypes. But when actually it comes to the industry, so as you know that we actually look for this end products which actually could be used by the mass. Okay, so when we see that for us this in India, at least we have seen this last 30 years. In the last 30 years, we have lots of software developers. Okay, so many people have been working in the software industries, but recently the paradigm has been changed. Okay, so because of this artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, so now people are actually incorporating those latest technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science in those softwares, and they try to develop these end products which actually help the people for better performance. Okay, so to get better accuracy. So now, right now you will be seeing in a different sectors. It starts from, for example, this education sectors to healthcare sectors, or in maybe in day-to-day life. Okay, so many products are available which actually consider this data science, AI, all these programs, they include and make this product. So for example, you have this different products like you see this for example, Alexa or different products which actually can interact with the customers. Similarly, you have in hospitals also different like robots, robotic programs, which actual robotic softwares, which help the patients to get the good prescriptions or the medicines, proper medicines for themselves. Okay, so there are actually lots of products are being developed, but that what we feel that we require many kinds of products. Okay, so because of this different requirements in our society, and that is now missing. Okay, so we require lots of skilled person, okay, for developing these kinds of applications or softwares. Okay, so we require lots of skilled people, and that actually could be covered up if we have these kinds of program. Okay, so where we are actually helping the people to learn the back end, how to do the coding, okay, and then how to develop the interface, or how to go for this higher advanced code, like advanced programs like data science, artificial intelligence, how this could be included in the product so that it will actually achieve better performance. So these things are actually required, and this will be covered up in this program. So we have actually designed this full stack development program in such a way that these people will be getting the insights of all these blocks. Okay, so this backend programs, how to develop the programs. So we are actually having this different um, different programming language which actually will be teaching. And then we have also this front end interface, how this backends could be used for interactions with the customers. So that will also be useful. Okay, so in the front end. And then we have also this this cloud computing, how we can use them, keep those softwares in this cloud, so that people just use them directly from this web interface. They do not need to download or install any softwares. So everything are actually done in this full pipeline of this of our program, of this full with this full stack development. So I feel this program is the need of the hour for all the people who actually are looking for jobs. Okay, so yeah, that's actually what I mean. I could actually yeah.
No, thank you, Professor Partha. That's
Take a
very
lot of
helpful.
time.
That's very helpful context. I'll just add some data points that we were able to dig up, and these are all things that one hears about, but it's baffling, right? I mean, if you think about the sheer volume and scale there were a couple of questions that are trickling in, and I'll save the questions for the end. But but one of the questions was, can somebody without a computer science background do this particular program? Can somebody from a different branch of engineering? And the short answer is absolutely, right? I think
Yes.
it's the whole point, the whole design of this program is that it takes you end to end, right? It takes you through the whole stack. You will learn databases, you learn backend development, you learn front end. It's not just a series of concepts. It's going to be very hands-on, and all of this is in the context of the big opportunity, right? Now, given that you have so many millions of jobs being added every year in this space, and people are struggling to find qualified engineers in this space. It's not restricted to people who have who come out of a particular branch at some of the top colleges, right? There are only a handful of people who come out from from the IITs and some of the elite colleges with a computer science degree, and they're just not enough to fill the need. So some of the best engineers that I've worked with personally, through my professional career, I have come from other backgrounds. What is really required is a set of almost soft skills, right? That go along with the hard skills, and that is just your ability to think logically, analytically, but also just to keep an open mind and be able to communicate effectively and things like that, right? We spoke to some of our company partners, right? And we said, okay, how do you evaluate people when and we work with 400 plus partner companies, and I'll talk about the career aspect of it in a bit. But this is what they come back to us with, right? They said, you know what, there's always a programming test, sure. I'm testing them on their knowledge of, depending on the company, it could be Java, it could be Python, it could be whatever, front end if you're looking at that. But I also want to know if you can learn something quickly, because guess what? Chances are whatever you're learning today, you're going to need something else tomorrow, right? Every company has its own tech stack. No two tech stacks are the same. People are constantly changing the tools they use. One of the meta skills that everybody has to work with is both to produce and consume APIs, for example. Again, you don't have to know what APIs are, but they're basically just ways to access programs that other people have written. And one of the most essential things with consuming APIs or producing APIs is just to have good communication, a good learner's mindset, to understand what the other people are saying, and so on. Right? So it's not just hard programming skills, but it is attention to detail. It is being a little bit creative, and it's okay to hit a wall and power through it. So we absolutely don't require that somebody comes in with extensive computer science background. In fact, by design, this program was designed for people who have not had the opportunity to do exactly that, right? If you have not had the opportunity to learn computer science formally from one of the best colleges in the world, this is your opportunity, right? So this is your opportunity to make up and bridge that gap, and that's the whole rationale for this design. Professor Partha, you mentioned one other thing, right? You talked about obviously learning the foundations, the back end and the front end, and then you talked about the value of cloud and learning Python for data science and how that augments everything else. Can you just briefly, in just 1 or 2 minutes, explain what the opportunity there is, right? Why is it essential for an engineer to know these things in addition to just code programming?
Okay, see, when actually we see these different applications or these different opportunities. Okay, so we have actually many, we see that lots of data are available, okay, when in our day-to-day life. So this data actually we have to use, okay, so properly or efficiently. So we have this different backend programs which actually could check this. Actually, we will be using this different algorithms like this data structures algorithms. Will be learning, and those data structures algorithm will find out that what is the pattern, okay, what is the pattern of the data, all those stuffs. Okay, so we'll be learning this, which algorithms you will be using in those data. And then later on we will be using some, for example, this some front-end interface. Okay, so front-end interface, it could be, for example, you will have this some for example HTML or JavaScript, this kinds of interface will be there through which actually you will be able to interact with those data, okay, or your backend programs, okay. So and then you will have this data science programs as well, okay. So where actually you will be able to mine some of the data which are important and what actually will be you want to show to the customers what data is important, which part of the data is important, okay. So everything you will be learning in this end-to-end program, okay. So and then so this is an actually huge opportunity for all the learners, because see when you will be joining some companies, so so you have to design, maybe for example for example sometimes you have to be do some backend programs, okay. So sometimes you will be learning some like a data science programs, okay. So slowly you will be moving into different blocks or different modules, and then once you will be master on these different programs, you will be actually having this manager kind of thing, okay, where you will be actually handling this full pipeline, okay. So how actually you can connect this backend, front end, or this cloud or this data science all together. So okay, so where that's why you require to learn this front end, back end, and this cloud computing, and this data science. All these blocks are very important, which are actually required when you will be developing some programs, okay. So when, for example, when you want to go develop an algorithm, like, okay, so I want to travel, for example, from one place to another place, so what is the shortest route, okay, or what is maybe the comfortable route, okay. So which route I will take, okay. So that kind of algorithm actually you will be learning through these data structures, algorithms, these kinds of programs, okay. So where actually it doesn't require your computer science background. This is totally your this analytical or reasoning, okay. So knowledge actually that is required, okay. So how you will be using your simple logic or the reasoning, that okay, so that could help to find out the best route from location A to location B, okay. So similarly I can say that, okay, from the front end also, this is nothing, there is no need of rocket science engineering, okay. So it's a very simple, like, okay, so you have to use, for example, if you want to show some data to your front end, okay. So if I just want to scroll the websites, and then what information I want to show, okay. So and how actually you can make it more interactive with the customers, okay. So how customers actually will feel comfortable with that interface, or with that software, that actually you will be learning in this program, okay. So those kinds of logic or reasoning things, these are very um, these are required, okay. So and nothing else, we do not and we are not going to deal this very complex formulas or complex algorithms. We are not going to go through this complex algorithms, okay. So only requirement is that how actually we will be joining those pieces of this logics together one after another, and make the uh, full pipeline, okay. We will develop the full pipeline, okay. And then you will have this for example, this cloud computing, how actually you can put them into this online, or how actually you will be using your data science programs, like this different machine learning programs, like supervised algorithm, unsupervised algorithms. So there also I will show that, okay, so you will be using those programs. This do not require much complex algorithms, okay. This will be very this will require very simple logic, okay. And then how you use the data to find out the pattern. Okay, so with the simple logical formulas and reasoning, we'll be able to complete this front end, back end, data science, all those blocks. Okay, so this will be useful everywhere. Okay, so not only if you are going in this joining in this industry, if you are looking, for example, in academia, they're everywhere. Maybe in your day-to-day life also, you'll see that those programs will be useful for you to have a clear thinking. Okay, how actually you can develop those programs, or how you can, if you are in some problems, how you can actually sort out these problems and find out the simple solutions. Okay, so this will be required. Yes.
Thank you, Professor Partha. That was very helpful. I think you laid out and I think that the 2 points that I would re-emphasize there. One, of course, is that this is not rocket science, right? I mean, a lot of people learn it. As long as systematic analysis is applied, right? People think systematically about how to go through and learn these things. And the second thing that you emphasized is learning by doing. Right, even simple things require a lot of practice to master, and that's going to be an emphasis of this program as well. Right? People are going to have to work hands-on. That's what differentiates this program from, there is a ton of just content and material out there on the internet, but I think you need guided practice. You need a lot of focus and attention on getting people through, and that's what this program provides. So before we proceed, Professor Partha, if I may, I just want to take a moment also to introduce Great Learning, which I represent, and also what our role in this program is, which people might be curious about. Right? So Great Learning is, we're one of India's biggest education technology providers. We work with some of the top universities in the world, and now we're obviously delighted to work with IIT Roorkee as well. And one of the I'll just, we've had programs for the last 8 years in AI, machine learning, data science, cloud computing. So we bring a lot of industry experience to this partnership, to this collaboration, and in what allows us to to let these programs flourish is you have Professor Partha, you have Professor Manas, you have Professor Bala, you have some of the best faculty in the world. But then, we can complement that with an extensive network of industry experts, right? So these industry experts are then taking this learning, they're applying this on the ground every day, right? So we have engineers who work at LinkedIn, engineers who work at PayPal, and they're going to come in and they're talking about, okay, everything you learned, here's how we do this in practice, right? Or what actually, which of these areas, which of these algorithms do I use a lot? How do I do it, right? Are there tricks and tips? Are there shortcuts, right? How do you even get these kinds of heuristics, and how do you start to to implement a lot of the techniques that you've learned? So that's the perfect marriage of good, strong foundational understanding with a lot of the industry, the practical industry perspective. And also, when you learn algorithms in the context of a couple of examples, right? One of our endeavors also is that over the course of the program, through these industry experts and through the mentors who work with you, you're able to get a much, you're going to get an even broader set of examples to learn from, right? You might develop programs a certain way in the financial sector, but within certain constraints because of regulations, because of whatever else it is. You might work on it differently when you're in the healthcare sector. You might work on it differently when you're building a product versus a large-scale enterprise service for a telecom company, right? And hearing from all of these different people is actually valuable in your whole learning journey, and that's one of the big the most valuable contributions we can make. A second valuable contribution, of course, is career support, right? We again work with 400, 500 different hiring partners who recruit our learners in areas ranging from data science to cloud computing to full stack development to to cybersecurity. And we know this need, right? They come to us. One of the reasons we create these programs, and one of the reasons we work on these programs, is because we see the gap, right? We're not just building this up because in the absolute we're interested in it. We have a lot of validation from companies who say, hey, this is what I want, right? And even in the design of this program, in collab, Professor Partha, Professor Manas, Professor Bala, we've also participated a lot with industry folks and said, hey, what do you look for? What do you recruit for? What are the skills you look for? Right. So we know how career success happens in this area. The reason the program is put together this way is so that you build the necessary skills. Of course, let's also recognize that becoming a master in these areas takes a lot of time. Getting good foundations is what we are hoping for in this program, and then you will learn through practice, right? You will build a network. This is a peer learning program. You'll build a network with your peers and kind of build from there. And so that's the endeavor. So I'll just now jump into the program. In the interest of time, let's move on to the program overview, right? So first I'd like to establish that full stack development, quote unquote, is not a new area, right? I mean, people have been developing applications for a long time. In fact, even web-enabled applications, right? I mean, when you look at the mid 90s and you look at the evolution of the browser and Netscape and all of that, you start to look at, hey, that was 26 years ago, right? And even then people had to build, with the browser, you had to build front end because you needed to have good visual interface. It wasn't just anymore, just a command line interface. You then had to build obviously the backend logic and interaction with databases, because that's where the data stored has never changed. That's been around for 30-40 years, right? But what has changed is what has evolved is we are now seeing, more and more things like web frameworks. And basically they're layers of abstraction, where earlier you had to write all of the code. People have started to put codes together as packages and packages as libraries, and these libraries are what you call. So you don't have to do all of the groundwork from scratch. This is not different in any other field, right? I mean, you think about it, famously, all of science, they talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And computer programming is no different. People have built all of these packages, and whether it's web frameworks, whether you look at the evolution of Python depends a lot on, there's a vibrant open source development community that's contributing packages every day to it, so that you don't have to sit and write functions from scratch. JavaScript is the same. So we are going to develop the ability and the skills to be able to do everything from scratch. But you also, as a good functional engineer, need to understand how to use the power of all of these libraries, all of these packages, right? Because so you're not the one building everything from scratch. Otherwise, let's face it, in practice, you'll never be able to build an end-to-end application. It's going to take you years, right? So, this is not, this is a fast-growing area, right? So although it's been around for 40 years, right now, in the last few years, it's seen an incredible growth in how many jobs there are in the industry, whether you're looking at full stack developers, just Java or JavaScript developers, whether you're looking at Python developers. These are all areas where, people are knocking on our doors every day saying, hey, do you have good talent in this particular area? So if you can become proficient in this area, it's a massive, massive opportunity. Why? Because as a full stack developer, and you may not be the expert on every one of these, right? You might be a solid backend developer who understands front end very well, or you might be a very good front end developer who can work well with backend developers. But you are 2 notches above everybody else if you can do this. And the reason is that what is really the way applications are built now in the world of, you might have heard phrases like DevOps and all of these other things, is that everything is starting to work in a very agile way, right? People want collaboration. People want very rapid prototyping. People want products to be tested pretty much every day. You don't have the old, relatively long planned waterfall kind of project life cycles, and things are starting to become a lot quicker. So if you are proficient in all of these different areas, even if you're not the one who's writing code in every one of these areas, you're able to interact with the front end. If you're a good backend developer, you're able to interact with the front end. You're able to look at their code. You're able to work backwards and say, okay, this is what they're building. This is what they need, right? Or vice versa, right? Or if you're working with a data scientist, you're able to say, okay, all that is well and good, but in an hour conversation that you're going to tell me, this is the proof of concept that you've built as a predictive algorithm. How am I going to build a product around it, right? So what is the output? Where does how does that need to be displayed? What is the tools I need to display that? How frequently do I need to refresh it? What are the other data sources I need to pull in? What API calls do I need to make? Which databases do I need to read? having that understanding of being able to see the whole system is incredibly valuable, right? And it makes you, and trust me, it does put you at least 2 notches above everybody else that you are going to compete with. And that's the value of actually learning all of these different moving parts, even if you currently work in one of these areas, right? So that's the whole principle behind which this program has been developed. It's a comprehensive program. It's not just content out there, because like I said, there's a lot of fantastically good content out there, but it takes a certain amount of guidance, it takes a certain amount of interactivity, it takes a certain amount of your ability to reach out and ask questions when you're stuck, that gets you unstuck, right? And that's the tried, tested, and proven learning model that we know works. We've seen that with 30,000 plus people that have gone through all of our programs, and that's why we've created this as a comprehensive program. It's comprehensive, 10 months, 300 plus learning hours, but I do want to emphasize it is also designed with the intent that it's okay if you're a working professional, you will still be able to do this program. Right? If you're early in your career, you already have a job, maybe you're in a job that is that is still technical, but not quite as a developer. Maybe you're in a non-technical job. Maybe maybe you're actually in your doing your masters and trying to do this in parallel. The whole idea is that this is not mandatorily going to consume your life. The idea is that you can still have a day job and still do this program. So I think somebody had that question, so I just wanted to address that. And as I said, it is designed to be a combination of learning from the fantastic faculty at IIT Roorkee as well as industry experts. So you get both of those perspectives, and you're able to specialize in these areas that are going to really put you a notch above, right? Whether it's cloud computing, Python for data science, these are areas that now every engineer needs to know. Right? Why cloud computing? Everything is on the cloud now, right? You have entire billion-dollar companies that are built entirely on the cloud that don't own a single server, right? The same with Python for data science, right? Now data science and software engineering are starting to become merged as fields, right? Not you might still have your couple of good, solid mathematically focused data scientists, but in practice, whether you're looking at out of the box solutions, whether you're looking at platform as a service kind of solutions, all cloud providers now provide services that and APIs that you can consume to build products on, right? Data science products on. So it's important for you as a software engineer to understand these areas as well, right? So that's a little bit about the program design. So who is this program for? It's for people who are looking, it's few different use cases. Either you're looking to kickstart your software development career, right? You haven't yet started, and you're looking to get started. You might be, again, from a non-computer science engineering field, you might be working in kind of an allied area, but it is a great way to get kickstarted. You might already be working. That's a second use case, but you might be in testing, you might be in quality, you might be in support, and you want to move into more of a frontline development role. This program is for you as well. If you're looking for a career transition, and let's say you are already a developer, but you are a developer in a very niche area, right? You work on a large scale application, and this is very common if you work at one of the big IT firms, whether it's Infosys, Wipro. You're probably a small piece of a very, very large puzzle. You're working on one particular functionality, one particular area. You sometimes work in frankly, a little bit of an outdated technology stack, or you might be working on some of the mainstream technologies. But if now you need to understand the whole end-to-end system, right? So that's a third use case. Or a fourth use case, of course, is that you might already be a technologist, you might already be a developer, but you want to understand it in the context of the emerging stack, right? You want to learn Python, you want to understand how to interact with data science models, you want to understand how things work on the cloud, right? So these are all valid reasons why you might want to take this program. But the whole idea, as I said, is it doesn't matter if you're a student or a working professional. If you're coming up on trying to build these set of skills as a transformative, career changing kind of a learning experience, this is for you. And it is going to be a bit rigorous, so don't take this lightly, but it's good, because anything worth doing is worth doing well, right? So you might as well do a great job at it. So let's look at what are the skills. We keep talking about these skills, but the reason the program is designed the way it is we just didn't come up with a set of topics, right? A good full stack developer, these are ideas synthesized from years and years of experience and having spoken to a lot of industry folks. What they want you to know are sound knowledge of programming languages, right? That's number one. And that's your core backend programming, right? It could be Java, Python, or it could even be JavaScript. Of course, programming languages for front-end development. So you understand how to build the front end as well. And this is typically HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Basic, how do you design an application, right? So because people don't give you code specs, right? People don't give you code specs and say, go write the code. People give you an open-ended problem and you have to start kind of build. So how do you even design it? Understanding APIs, understanding databases, version control system, Git, GitHub, architecture, and some data structures and algorithms. These are vital because whether or not you are going to use these on a daily basis, version control and Git and all of that is basic hygiene, right? It's like knowing how to use Gmail or an email system for a developer. But things like data structures and algorithms, as Professor Partha pointed out, it all sounds like one chapter or one unit in a textbook or in a course, but really it is your ability to think logically about anything you're writing, and that's vital. So while you might formally learn data structures or learn algorithms in one course, you're going to use it through the whole program, right? And in your entire career, because you're always writing algorithms, right? All code is an algorithm, and you're always using different data structures and the ability to use different data structures and the trade-offs therein, right? So these are the skills. Now, how does that translate to the program itself? So the program, as I said, is fairly comprehensive. So the way it then builds is, you take the core of it, which is understanding the core backend software development, understanding how object-oriented code is written, data structures and algorithms, as I said, databases, and quote unquote server side, right? So backend development. That's then, on top of that, you build your front end software development abilities, because that's your stack. You have backend, databases, front end, right? Where you learn how to build front end applications with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also frameworks. As I pointed out, things like React are frameworks, right? A series of libraries, a series of pre-built functionality that you can call on, rather than writing everything from scratch, right? And then you build your specialization, right? Whether you're looking at cloud or Python for data science, you then build on top of that, right? And say, hey, you know what? I can now understand how systems are built. How do I build this in the context of data science applications? Or I now understand how this entire full stack system is built. Let me understand this in conjunction with how are things deployed on the cloud and how cloud computing works. Right, so that's the overall design of the program. And at the end of the program, you become proficient in building all of the end-to-end web applications, right? And of course, one of the things I mentioned at the outset, not everybody has the good fortune of having learned from some of the best faculty and having gone to an IIT Roorkee for their undergraduate or postgraduate degree. This is your opportunity to make up for that, right? And get the really, really high quality credential that every company will value. But you're also going to get that in the context of very, very structured learning, very well supported learning, industry expertise that a lot of great learning industry faculty will bring you, very systematic program support that Anirudh and team, as I said, are going to bring you. It's a little bit like you can try to get fit by watching YouTube videos, or you can sign up with a personal trainer. Right. So this program is a bit like signing up for the personal trainer, because we are going to make sure that you stay on track. It's a structured program. There's a program manager who will follow up with you, make sure that things are staying on track. There'll be periodic TA sessions and so on and so forth. So it's a very structured environment with a lot of support. And at the end, there's as I said, we're going to tap into the extensive company network, the corporate network that we have, to provide you career support as well, whether it's workshops to get you prepared, whether it's coaching you in smaller groups, whether it's providing resources to help you prepare, or even connecting you to some of these job opportunities. Right. As I said, career services comes in many ways. We have all of the I think the biggest and brightest companies in the country and globally represented, as you can see on the screen there. We have an extensive job board where jobs are constant, and it's not just a data dump of jobs. These are vetted jobs that we know are active and are looking for these kinds of people with these kinds of skills. We have career fairs. We have and all the projects that you work on. I said this is a hands-on program. All the projects that you work on here, you're going to build an e-portfolio out of it. Right? Because these days, frankly, you go out into the industry, nobody cares if you tell them, I know this, this, and this. Right? You have to show, not tell. Right? What that means is that you have to show them a GitHub link with all of your projects. You have to show them a portfolio of projects that you have done. This is what they want to see. And the moment you've done that, you're automatically in the top 10% of people who are being recruited for these kinds of roles, right? Because you're de-risking it for the employers. They're coming in and saying, oh, okay, this person's actually done some work in this area, so let me give them a shot. So that's what we're going to help you do. A little bit of the nitty-gritty. How do you go through this entire process? Some of you had questions on the program fee. The program fee is for the entire program is 2 lakhs plus GST. And some of you had questions about financial aid and support. There are educational loans. There are no interest loans. That we have a number of financial partners. Reach out to our team. I think they can counsel you on all of this and walk you through all of the processes required for this. The application process is very straightforward. You fill in an application, but you're going to then go through a screening process. We will reach out to you. You will have an admissions interview. You will, we'll go through your background and your motivations and so on. And then you get an admissions offer upon which you can secure your seat. Right. I'm going to leave this screen on here because if you have questions, I'm happy to take a few questions now. But since it's already 12:07, if we don't get all of your questions, you're also welcome to reach out to us. You have the phone number up here, you have email as well as the program page. So there are 3 different ways you can reach out to us and get all of your questions answered. So I'm just going to go through some of the questions that I think have come in. I talked about financial aid. I talked about whether or not you can pursue this if you are from a non-computer science background. Mechanical engineering is what they asked. Somebody working as an Oracle DBA and wants to switch to development profiles. As I said, this is exactly the use case that we've designed for. Will there be any projects in development is another question. Absolutely. Right. I think that in fact, it's not just will there be projects, it is an essential and mandatory part of you. Like, in fact, if you don't finish those required projects, you're not going to get the certificate. You're not going to graduate. So it's not the kind of program where you can just show up and watch a bunch of videos and get a certificate. I don't think IIT Roorkee is going to hand out certificates like that. And I don't think we are going to allow you to go through something that light because we know that at the end of it, we can't support your career aspirations if you go through such a program. So it is hands-on, it is practical. There are going to be a series of different shorter assignments, longer projects, both that you work on. In fact, we're even going to have some fairly innovative learning processes like product teardowns, where you'll actually try to look back and say, okay, how is this product built? Because the more products you look at, and you think about it, right? Like, this is what a good architect does or a good designer does, right? So they look at common products that have been designed or common buildings that they can encounter, and they try to understand what were their design principles and went into this, right? What was the thought process behind building this? The more you understand those, the better you can become at going through such thought processes yourself. Right, so you're definitely going to have a lot of very, very interactive learning. So you can expect a lot of that. Okay. I don't know if there were any other questions, but yes, there is one other question around, what is program support and what does TA look like? So look, as I said, there are multiple layers of support here. You are going to learn from recorded online material that we would have provided. It is essential that you go through this material over the course of a week, so that some of you will have the background, some of you will not have the background. Regardless, you're going to, by the time you've gone through all of that material, for those without the background, you might spend more time, watch it a couple of times, do whatever it takes to get up to speed. And for those of you who have the background, you might go through it relatively quickly, so that when you come to any live session, you actually have all of the background. The idea of the live session is not to repeat everything that is shown. That is shared with you as recorded learning material, right? The recorded learning material introduces you to the foundational concepts. The live sessions build on it. They instantiate it with specific examples, walking you through more practical things. And then you have a third layer of industry experts and industry sessions who are then going to also, as mentors, walk you through use cases, kind of code walkthrough, and walk you through, a little bit of the more practical stuff. Right? If so, the whole idea of the sessions is that the recorded material and the live sessions complement each other, but they're not repetitions of each other. So you have to go through all of it, right? In addition to this, we are also periodically going to have support sessions specifically aimed at supporting you through your projects, right? So the hands-on things you will do, you are going to have periodically, and these will be fairly closely linked to the submission deadlines and so on, because we know when you're going to need that support. But that's when you're going to have support in case you're stuck. Again, we're not going to, the first time you're stuck, you can't just say, help, I'm stuck, I got an error. That's part of the learning process, right? Learning to debug and learning to figure out, how to power through these errors is an essential part of learning. So you will have to fight through that yourself, but we're not going to leave you to your own devices, right? So you have these support sessions to help you through some of the more difficult elements of the projects. And then finally, you have program support. Now, as I said, program managers will help you with any personal or professional issues you have. If, for example, you missed a week, they can help you figure out how to catch up. They will follow up with you if you are falling behind proactively. They'll reach out to you and say, hey, what's going on? How do you get back on track? So think of them as your personal coach throughout this entire learning journey. So that's another layer of support as well. Okay, I think those are the immediate questions. I'm sure there are many other questions, but there were a lot of questions around things like fees and structure, which I think we've covered. So I don't need to go through those again. But since we're over time, we're going to wrap up here. As I said, the phone number, the email ID, and the program page are up on screen. So if you have further questions, reach out to us. I want to thank Professor Partha, Professor Manas, Anirudh, all of you for joining us, and Prateek as well, who's here, for joining us this morning, introducing this program. I'm personally very excited to take this out to to the audience that is out there, that's eager and waiting to learn from this program. Thank you all for being here. Stay safe. Stay at home, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. And if you have questions on the program itself, reach out to us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, everybody. And we look forward to exciting learning time. And I would like to again sort of reiterate that we are here to help. We are here to make sure that you learn what we are trying to deliver. And the fact that we have partnered with Great Learning is to basically ensure that all the nitty-gritty in terms of actual implementation, collaborating and bringing in industry experts, particularly those where there are exciting opportunity in terms of finding jobs, as well as giving you better experience learning overall. I'm sure that all of you will be very much excited to join this program and use this unique and very good opportunity to make very good career prospects for you, as well as be part of this greater initiative. By doing this program, you are also becoming a a kind of member of this whole network. And once you do this program, you have access to all the people in our network. And that's something which is also very helpful for future. So with this, I would like to stop, and I would like to put on record my great appreciation and sincere thanks for my colleagues here, because it is these sort of people who are finding time out of their very busy schedules to interact and to give you the something which is very important in terms of key essentials of the program. And also thank you all the support team from Great Learning, and we look forward to a very good sort of program, and also look forward to a long working relationship. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Professor Manas. We'll wrap up on that note.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Thanks, Professor Partha.